Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from. And today we're going to be going over the real reason why the crypto markets crashed this weekend. There's actually two answers to this one. So we're going to be going over both the technical answer and the fundamental answer. And all that I ask is that if you like the content that I make, at the end of this video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. But let's go ahead and dive on in here because there has been a lot happening to not only Bitcoin, but I'm sure, as all of you guys have seen, to the altcoin market as well. I mean, we have been seeing quite the dip of red across the board over here. And again, it all stems from two major things. Number one, if we want to take a look at that now, the major crypto exchange, Bittrex, has officially filed for bankruptcy in the United States out of Delaware. Now, Bittrex is a very large crypto exchange. They're not tier one like Coinbase or Binance or Kraken, but I would label them as a pretty high tier two exchange. They're not a no-name. They're very well known, a very large exchange as well, but they're not on the same level as something like Binance or Coinbase or even Kraken, I would say there. But this is a big deal. Now, there's two things to take out of this. Number one, this is for Bittrex US, not for Bittrex Global. Bittrex Global is, as it sounds, a global company, and we've seen a lot of crypto exchanges do this in recent years in order to have both a full service exchange and then a US exchange where they're going to be very limited because of the way that the SEC has been cracking down on crypto. So it looks like Bittrex Global is going to continue to live on unaffected because they're two separate legal entities. But Bittrex US is going to be going away in the United States, or at least file for bankruptcy. Maybe someone else can pick them up and maybe they can eventually come back. But for the time being, it looks like Bittrex is going to be making its way out of the States, which we've seen from a lot of decentralized platforms, even centralized platforms, trying to say that they want to diversify or even leave the United States because of the way that Gary Gensler and the SEC has been handling the crypto market really ever since FTX. He didn't seem like he was all that like hatred of it. Even back in the day, I mean, when he was a professor, he would give lectures on it. But really, ever since FTX happened, I think it was a really embarrassing moment for him. And now he kind of has this vendetta to show everyone that, hey, I'm actually trying to do my job here. I know I let this one massive thing pass, but I think right now he's just trying to make up because he let such a big scandal go underneath his nose while he was the SEC commissioner and the head of the SEC. So this is the big fundamental reason that I was talking about earlier. Again, a big exchange going under in the US, not an ideally good thing. Then also, technically speaking, if we look at Bitcoin's chart over here, the number one thing that I would say is that we had this large pennant, this large symmetrical triangle that was forming on Bitcoin's daily chart, where we essentially had a falling level of resistance meeting a rising level of support. And while price action was just bouncing and ricocheting in between here, we can see that price was squeezing and squeezing and squeezing until ultimately we saw the breakdown right here. And so this went from around $30,000 all the way down to, I think our recent low was just around $27,000. And there's good and bad news here. I guess the good news is that Bitcoin held a higher swing low. So Bitcoin's previous low was just at the upper echelons of $26,000, borderline at $27,000. The good news here is that this is a higher swing low prior to this previous move. So this one was about $27,300, so about $300 higher than our previous swing low. For those of you that are familiar with technical analysis, we like to see higher swing lows on a candle chart, especially when it comes on a daily time scale or something even greater than that. Because this previous low is from last month back in April, and this current low is in May. So it's not like these two are side by side. We would almost call this a separate swing low. So this is a good thing to see on Bitcoin's chart. Now, what's the bad thing? Well, the bad thing here is that Bitcoin is now below both the 50 and the 20-day moving averages, and it has to now retest this previous support level, now turned as a resistance, right on top of both the 20 and the 50-day. So here we have three different forms of resistance that could cause Bitcoin to reject. Now, hopefully we don't see this, but again, my goal here is to give everyone in the available information and let them make their own decisions from there. So what we have here is three different forms of resistance all stacked on top of each other. We have the 50-day moving average, the 20-day moving average, and this previous support line now turned into resistance all stacked on top of each other for Bitcoin. Now, this is quite the crucial moment, because for those of you who have been following, one of the other things that we talked about here was Bitcoin dominance. And Bitcoin dominance right now, if we want to zoom out, is at its historic multi-year high and typical topping point of around 48 to 49%. And over the past couple of years, this has always been where Bitcoin dominance tops out. And typically when Bitcoin dominance tops out and it falls, it causes Bitcoin to lose valuation compared to the altcoin market, which ironically, if we go and we look at the altcoin market, this is at a historic support line. Not only is it at its uptrending support, but it's also at all of its moving averages, and it's starting to bounce really, really well. So there's definitely an argument that, hey, maybe as we get closer to this halving, Bitcoin can begin to top out and altcoins might have room for a little bit of a rally here. And once we see Bitcoin dominance really fall, and I want to go back to that, once we see Bitcoin dominance fall below something like 47-ish%, that's when I think the altcoin rally could really, really start to get started. It hasn't happened yet, but I do think one's coming, and I've been kind of alluding to this, why I am increasingly more interested in a number of different altcoins. And I want to end this all on a really positive note, because again, for every bad thing that happens in crypto, there are 10 good things that happen that just go unnoticed, because people like to focus on the bad news, but that's not what we do here. So let's talk about from Blockworks, but let's talk about PayPal, because PayPal had to disclose that they own nearly $1 billion of crypto on their balance sheet as of this year. This means that they have rapidly increased the amount of crypto that they held. And there was an awesome report on this. I should have pulled it up before I got the video here. But they have nearly $1 billion of crypto on their balance sheet. And think about that for a second. That's a lot. Most crypto projects that you all know and love, most altcoin projects, aren't worth $1 billion, let alone a single company just holding this much crypto. So I see this as a good thing. PayPal's really doubling down on all this, and they held more than most people believed that they actually had. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring this to the spotlight. This is a big traditional finance company that owns a ton of crypto. So if you didn't know this, now you know it. Hopefully you find it useful. And this is just a cool little article kind of talking about all the different numbers and everything else over here. And what this tells me is that big institutions are incentivized and they believe that crypto is going to go back up. Now, some of these, yeah, they are customer funds, but we don't see big finance companies like this, especially traditional and centralized finance companies, taking gambles on crypto if they don't think it's going to succeed. It's very unlikely, because now what we have is a lot of companies either getting involved with crypto services or having it on their balance sheets. And again, I just don't see them doing that if they think it's going to disappear anytime soon, or if it, in the very least, if it doesn't have a very bright future. So let me just go ahead and say that here and now. But that's going to round us up for this video, everyone. As I said earlier, all that I ask is that if you like the video, consider hitting that like button, drop me a comment, and smash the subscribe button as well, because I make videos just like this one every single week, multiple times a week. So if you want to stick around for the next videos that are to come, we have another one coming out in a couple days on Friday. So I hope all of you enjoyed, and I'll see all of you very, very soon.